thank you, Greg, her family, the rest of our employees in the board, and celebrate her life tomorrow. Thank you and thank you for her life and her commitment to our community. Thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and call our meeting to order and entertain a motion for the signing of claims in the minutes.
So moved.
Second that?
Okay, got a motion and a second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
All right. Okay, and then we got approval of the special meeting we had on August 1st. So we need a motion for that.
Make a motion, we accept that approval.
Second that?
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, Steve?
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, Steve.
I bring before you today is the title page that's, that needs approved, the drawings for Bridge 161, which is over 200 South, right next to State Road 15. This is the final step, and we'll be preparing to put it out. Bid letting comes at the end of this, in January of this year, or, December of this year, to be put out for construction.
Okay.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve it. We sign that document.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
You have that with you, or do you get in with Rhonda's stuff? Okay, all right.
Thank
Cool.
you very much.
All right,
Thanks, Steve.
Sheriff?
Good morning.
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 Good morning.
Coming before you this morning in reference to an effort to ratify a recent purchase that the Sheriff's Office made. I did email each of you as well as the Auditor's Office. I'll go ahead and read that that memorandum that we prepared. With the recent death of a Indiana Sheriff's Transport Officer in Marion County earlier this year, it became apparent to our department that our security measures for the transporting of prisoners was insufficient or deficient. An effort to increase the security element to the transporting of prisoners, a vehicle purchase was required. The Sheriff's Office is at the time that I prepared this, was still waiting our original 2023 vehicle purchases that were actually ordered at the beginning of this calendar year, so they're kind of slow going across the state. In order to ensure the safety of the transport officers, an immediate purchase was needed. With the inability to order and receive police vehicles in a timely manner, our department researched many dealerships and were able to locate a 2023 police Dodge Durango in the dealership lot at LaPorte Chrysler Incorporated in LaPorte, Indiana, for less money than actually each of our 5 Durangos that we ordered earlier this year costed us. In an effort to secure this much-needed equipment, it was believed that the purchase was needed immediately, and my fear was waiting until this meeting to request, we were going to lose out on that opportunity as quick as they were going. The purchase was made out of the commissary account, was not going to require any appropriate or appropriations, and there was sufficient funds to support that purchase in our commissary account. So I'm coming before you today to ratify that purchase.
Okay.
We felt that it was an emergency purchase. The current vehicle that we're using is a Chevy Traverse with 40,000 miles on it. The problem with Traverse, it's a good vehicle, it's just not a police car. So when you start looking at putting cages and safety partitions, and it was going to cost us quite a bit of money to customize one with the airbags and that sort of thing, because it is a civilian car. So rather than spending the money on doing that, we're going to repurpose that vehicle to one of our administrator positions. So we're still going to be able to use it, still has a lot of life left in it. This purchase of this Durango that I spoke of, we're going to be able to put the appropriate safety elements inside it to make us as safe as possible when we're doing those transports, and we do a lot of them. So we felt it was important.
You can have a lot of money, I'm sure, customizing stuff. That
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
huge.
That one was going to be pretty expensive because it was all going to be customized if we wanted to continue to use that Traverse. So.
I think Steve can sympathize with you on the ability to get vehicles right now is pretty insane.
I think,
it's tough.
Sheriff, your underlying reason for this is safety and expediency. You have to do something and just get it done on an emergency basis. So I make a motion, we accept your request.
Second that?
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jim.
Keep up the good work.
Okay, we got the Parks and Recreation Board
What?
up next.
What?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So we continue to work through processes and procedures. We have completed the request for proposals we wish to issue on the two projects that were approved through the ARPA process. The Chenworth Bridge Extension, which is a design engineering study, which we've done in 3 parts. We all know that we want to get out past Creighton Brothers, and we would certainly like to get all the way out to the county line. So we've done it with a base engineering study of past Creighton Brothers, and then an alternate to Atwood, and an alternate to the county line. If there's sufficient money, we'll go to the extent that we have. I don't know, we'll see what the money comes back. And then, of course, our trail master plan. We were not convinced yesterday that we required further commissioner approval, but we put ourselves on the agenda to come to you just in case. Obviously, we had the ARPA approvals, and then you had your special meeting after that and approved this. So that's our request, that we be allowed to put those RFPs on the street.
Thank you, Rob. I know we've been working, I've been going to a lot of those meetings and working with them on that. I think as an error of caution, we'll go ahead and make a motion to approve that these projects go out for an RFP for the planning and engineering for that, just to make sure that we're crossing all our Ts and dotting our Is. These are projects, it's already been approved, but just trying to keep everybody informed with what's going on and what's happening out there. So
So is that a motion?
that's a motion.
Second.
Okay. Any other questions or discussions? Rob? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Now you're official. Kip? Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm coming before you this morning to request your permission to apply for the Hazardous Material Emergency Preparedness Grant. This is a Department of Transportation federal grant that's managed through the Indiana Department of Homeland Security. We're asking for the full amount that you're allowed to apply for, $20,000. And it is a reimbursement grant. This grant basically pays for the training and exercise that our county commits to and has to perform every year. We've applied for this grant for many, many years previously, and I'm just asking for your permission to apply.
Is that just for K County, or does that have anything to do with District 2 at all?
This is just K County.
Okay, very good. Make a motion, we accept your request.
Second that.
Okay, any questions?
No.
Discussion? All's in favor? Aye.
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 All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kip. Jim, I was looking around for you. You're hiding back there. How you doing?
Good morning.
Morning.
Here this morning to respectfully request you consider appointing Cullen Reese to our board. Seat was vacated by Bob Marcuselli a few weeks ago for personal reasons. Bob's term expires in April of 2027. And the request would be to appoint Cullen to fill the remainder of that term. You've probably read Cullen's background, a lot of leadership skills as evidenced by him being an Eagle Scout as well as his military service. Just some strong business acumen with his educational background and previous history of serving on various nonprofit boards and capacities within those organizations. Cullen could not be here today. He's traveling on company business, but certainly I'll try to answer any questions you might have.
Alls I need to know is that if you've been on it forever, put a lot into it, and if you want him on, that's good enough for me.
I think he's a good fit for us.
Very good. I'd make a motion, we accept your request.
I'll second that.
Okay, all's in favor? Aye?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
You're
Jim,
welcome.
for all you do.
Keep up the good work.
Steve? Morning, sir.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
This is for the quarterly claim for April 1st to June 30th of 2023, presenting the 5311 federal and state operation funds. This claim represents 50% federal operation assistance in the amount of $97,938 and state and local funds of $48,969. We also got yesterday, I had to call and ask to add it to my agenda. We got our 2 new buses in yesterday, and I brought the paperwork here today to see about getting them signed so we can get plates.
Okay.
Great.
And she has the paperwork right there, so.
Okay, good
And
deal.
was the money for those buses, was that through MACOG, or the funding for that, or was that some of the NDOT money as far as the funding for those new buses, do you know?
Say that again?
The money for those 2 new buses, do you know where that came from?
Uh,
Was that some of the funding through MACOG?
yeah,
I thought it was. Okay.
Okay.
I'd make a motion to approve the NDOT report for third quarter.
Second.
Okay, all's in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
all right, thank you.
thanks, Steve. Okay, Whitney, Indiana Department.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, I'm not Whitney. My name is Rusty. She
didn't
just
think
helped
so.
me set up the meeting. And is going to take notes. Thank you. Good morning. Thanks for giving us an opportunity to get onto your agenda to give you an update on where we're at with the US 30 study. So as I mentioned, my name is Rusty Holt. I work for WSP. I'm the study manager for the Propel US 30 East study. You should have a copy of the presentation in front of you, so I'll just talk to what that looks like. So first, just a reminder of the map that we're looking at. So we're studying US 30 East, which includes Kosciuszko County, as well as Whitley and Allen counties. We're looking at this section specifically to see what the needs are in these communities, but we are in pretty constant communication with the other 3 studies, especially US 30 West, to make sure that our corridor as a whole makes sense, all of US 30. As a reminder, it is a 2-year planning study. We're about halfway through, and it is a 20-year study, so we're looking at the needs for the next 20 years, helping NDOT identify what the roadways should look like in the future. So far, our efforts have focused on why. Why are we evaluating potential improvements on the roadway? Why are those improvements important to your community? So to get to the why, we started with public input. So we've held several public meetings. We've been in the community for office hours every month since the beginning of the study. We've been to community events, whether they're fairs or festivals, to try to meet residents where they are and get some of that public input back. We've also had smaller meetings with business owners, with farmers, the Farm Bureau, also with economic development folks, your planners in the community, other transportation professionals in the area, just trying to get as much input as we can into the study. And part of why we're here today is to help, is a desire to partner with you all as community leaders to help us see what this next 20 years should look like. So the recap slide that you have in front of you is what the public comments have been to date. So 37% of the comments so far have been about safety along the corridor. Another 36% have involved access to the corridor, and another 25% is mobility along the corridor itself. So using that public input, we paired it with transportation data, so traffic volumes and crashes, to come up with purposes. So the next step is the purpose and need, so identifying the transportation needs, and then the desired outcomes or the purposes. So running through those 6 needs that we've identified, first is safety. There have been more than 2,700 crashes just in our section, so this 3-county section in the past 5 years, which is a high number. A lot of intersections have a higher than average frequency or severity of crashes, so our desired outcome is to improve roadway safety by identifying solutions that can reduce the number and severity of crashes along the corridor and at specific locations. Second purpose, crashes aren't just a safety problem, they're also an efficiency problem. Based on those crash statistics, there's a 73% likelihood that there's a crash somewhere along the corridor on any given day, which affects the reliability of the roadway. You don't know how long it's going to take you to get from one point to another. So one of our desired outcomes is improving safety, which will benefit mobility and efficiency of the roadway itself. The third bullet point is speed. We've heard a lot about speed along the roadway through the public input. So reviewing publicly available data, over the past year, we find that the average speeds are actually below the posted speed limit, which is usually surprising because when you drive it, people are going faster than the speed limit. But the average is lower because of traffic signals and other congestion that you might have or disruptions to traffic flow. So it counteracts the people that are speeding. So our desired outcome desired outcome is to have those two come together. So the below posted speed limit get closer to the speed limit, and the people that are speeding to drive in a more safe, closer to the speed limit manner. Fourth bullet point is access points. There are 189 different access points. That includes public roadways as well as driveways, field entrances. Each of those are a disruption point into the traffic flow, causing either safety concerns or operational concerns. So our desired outcome here is to find ways that we can eliminate or consolidate access points so that we can reduce the number and provide a better overall experience. Again, balancing the need of mobility along the roadway with access to the roadway. So that's a large goal that we have is to look at access points in general. The next bullet point was operations. So we have 12 intersections that have failing operations. Now those failing operations are traffic that's trying to get either across US 30 to turn onto US 30 or to turn off of US 30. US 30 itself actually operates fairly well as people driving through the road, the corridor. But access to and from the corridor, we have some failing operations. So our desired outcome here is to find solutions that will improve local mobility. And then finally, we've heard a lot about the regional use of the roadway. We know it's an important roadway to get people through to the area, and then people traveling through the area use US 30. So about 1/3 of the traffic that's out there today are trucks. We expect that to grow into the future, not the percentage, overall percentage, but the amount of trucks to grow as the local economy develops and grows. There'll be additional need for freight, and US 30 would be the primary route for that. So our desired outcome here is to maintain or improve regional mobility along US 30. So based on those 6 purposes, we've narrowed down to 3 roadway needs or transportation needs that we need to address as we move forward into the study. So those 3 needs are first, roadway safety. We need to improve roadway safety in the corridor for all users. Second is mobility for local users. So we want to maintain or improve mobility for local users getting across or onto US 30. And then finally, enhance the efficiency and reliability of US 30 as a regional and statewide corridor. So those are the 3 need points that we'll be looking for as we move forward into the alternatives analysis, which is what's next. So now that we know why improvements are needed in the study area, we can start to identify what kind of solutions there are that could address those needs. We call those alternatives. We're starting at a universe of alternatives, which is every possible solutions that we have. We have more than 50 different solutions that we're currently looking at, and we're going to look at those solutions and see how they address those 3 needs that I mentioned. Anything that addresses a need will move forward into further study and consideration. Things that don't address the needs will be discarded, and we won't continue looking at those. So as I mentioned, that's the universe of alternatives. We'll be publishing that to our website and have a comment period. Anything that passes through that first level of screening will go on to a second level of screening, which is called the level 2 screening. Not super innovative with our naming there. But that second level of screening will look at those alternatives next to each other, look at deeper and more detailed look at cost, at benefits, at impacts, and see which one of those are best for the needs of the corridor itself. So which alternative suits the needs better than other ones, and the ones that meet them the best will pass forward to a third level of screening. And again, the ones that don't will fall out from the screening process. And then finally, we'll end with our third level of screening, where we'll take a even more detailed look at each alternative, have a drawing of what it could look like, specific about costs, about impacts, environmental impacts, roadway impacts, and how it impacts the community itself. And then that'll end with just a handful of potential solutions that we'll take forward into our Pell study. So that's the general process we're moving through for the rest of our study. We have about a year left. So timing of everything is where I'll end up. So first, the universe of alternatives, we're working on it now. We're planning to have that published to our website this fall, hopefully in September, near the end of September, and then have that 30-day comment period. We'll begin working on the level 2 screening. That should be published to our website and available for public comment this winter. And then finally, the level 3 screening will be in the spring of 2024. So we'll publish that to our website, but also have our next round of public information meetings at that point, so we can get as much public feedback as possible then, since that's the most detail we'll have. And then all that will move into our Pell study, which we'll finish up this summer into the fall, and then have that published, and another round of public meetings around that. So that's the upcoming schedule. That's how we're moving forward for the next year. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But that's the information that I have at this point.
Well, I just want to thank you guys for all the work. I know there's been lots of public meetings and business hours, the libraries and the local communities and different things to try and get as much public input on this. I know as you really start to put lines on a map or alternatives on how to improve these intersections, it's going to definitely bring more people out to want to look and see what those ideas might be. But I mean, when you look at the number of accidents, I mean, there was over 2,717 accidents over the last 4 years. You know, that figures out, and I'm looking at the proposed plan here, that's 9 crashes per mile per year over the entire length of the study area. So I mean, just to give you an idea, of every mile of road has 9 accidents per year if you to break it out over that. So, you know, so that's definitely, safety is really big, something that we need to look at, but I think we can't lose sight of just how big of a economic driver this is for our community. This is really kind of the lifeline to our county as far as how we interact with our neighboring communities. So from an economic perspective, it's really important. So we really appreciate you guys coming in this morning and giving us a rundown on where you're at, and more opportunity for the press to catch it and get it out there for people, because we want them to be part of the process. So appreciate you coming in today.
Thanks, Rusty.
Mayor Joe, I know chairs the US 30 Coalition for that corridor. Joe, I don't know if you have, Mayor Joe, if you have anything you'd like to share?
I have a couple of questions.
Right. Thank you. Thanks for coming in today.
Do you happen to have that list of 50 solutions that you mentioned?
I don't, we have not published it yet, but it will be in that document that we're publishing. But it ranges from something simple, like a small safety solution that fixes one intersection, all the way up to a full freeway. Like, we're looking at pretty much anything that could possibly solve problems out there.
And that's over, you say this is over 5 years in 3 counties. What counties are those?
Kosciuszko, Whitley, and Allen, yeah.
Okay, everything to the east of here.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, they're doing the eastern study. There's a western study that then continues it from Kosciuszko all the way up to Valpo or State Road 49 that goes north to the Tor Road. Then there's also a study on US 31 that goes south. So, I mean, there's actually 3 different studies going on that all kind of got rolled into one master plan, so to speak. So all these studies work together when they're complete, but they have different consultants on each one. So.
It would be a lot of work for one team to take on. So
Right.
4 of us working on it, yeah.
Any other questions? All right, thanks for your time, Rusty.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in. All right, Lori? Good morning.
Good morning. So I gave you like a little essay here, and I won't go through the whole thing because it's kind of a lot.
Short essay.
As you know, we've been working together, looking at some properties throughout the county that really would be ideal to get them back on the tax rolls, get them back into productive reuse, hopefully as housing, as we have a housing shortage that we're trying to address throughout the county. And one of the things that we had talked about in our working group is what appropriate steps can the county take in order to help facilitate redevelopment of those, and what are the partners that you could bring to the table to help with that. One of the strategies we had discussed was land banking, which is literally just acquiring properties that are in need of redevelopment, that are in a strategic position, and holding those properties, potentially making improvement to the property, and then getting it back into the hands of a responsible person in order to develop the property. I came here today to talk a little bit about Kosciuszko Development Land Trust. That is our 501c3 nonprofit redevelopment entity that we have here available in Kosciuszko County. The agency was started in 2020 specifically to do a lot of the things like you would do for land banking, acquiring properties, redeveloping improved and unimproved real estate, doing economic development projects, implementing real estate development projects, and working throughout the entire county. We were awarded a 501c3 designation by the IRS in 2021, and we are recognized as a charitable organization. That's important because there are opportunities that, for example, if you we needed to take on an environmentally sensitive property, that we could use that 501c3 designation to go after EPA grant funds and IDEM grant funds to address some of the environmental sensitivities to be able to get the property ready to be reused. So I go on to talk a little bit more about how we can come together, how we could serve as a partner. We'd be looking at some program design pieces that obviously we would need a steering committee. We'd like to have some folks that have been on that working group that have oversight and help make determinations. As you know, we talked a lot about, well, just because this property is, currently maybe a house that needs to be torn down, it maybe needs to be torn down because it never should have been a house in the first place. That parcel should never have been used for residential. And so how do we score and make a best and highest reuse of those parcels, and then make determinations based on those highest and best reuses, how we should dispense of the properties. Whether it's, hey, this would be a great place for another residence or an improved residence, great, let's develop a proposal process where we can get with developers and get somebody in there who's a responsible property owner and get the property back into reuse. Do you have any questions for me from?
No, Lori, I know that you've been on our meetings with our kind of revitalization of some of the homes around our county that are in need of fixing up, or some of them even demoed. I know the health department has worked on a list of those properties. We've got a meeting actually again after this meeting to kind of talk through more of next steps. I really think it's helpful to know what our options are here as we identify these properties and start to move forward with a demolition maybe of some of those buildings and having those properties repurposed. I mean, this would give us an avenue to be able to then put the properties into that and be able to have a process where we can get those back out and hopefully, either new homes are built or, those properties are reused and back on the tax roll. So, as well as improve the whole neighborhood where they're located. So I think it's a win-win. I think we're a little early to know what the best use is there yet, but I mean, this is helpful information for us to add to that pool of knowledge as we look to try and sort out what we want to do with those properties. So,
Yeah.
So I know we've talked with the Habitat for Humanity as well, and maybe even making some habitat homes out of some of these locations. But those are all things that still have yet to be determined, but appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thank you.
My question is, have you identified property already, or have you started that process at all?
Yeah, the health departments went through and I think there was a total of 30 properties I think they had on a list, or 34 properties.
They won't identify notice received.
Well, you have to identify before you can do any work on them. Okay. And these are abandoned or condemned locations that the health department's taking a look at. So have they been abandoned, or have they been acquired because of the location is health issues or health hazards, or?
I think there's a variety of reasons why they're on the list, but primarily, I think the main common thread is tax delinquency, and
Okay.
going through the
Like I
tax
say,
sale.
my concern is that in our haste to get something done, we step on the public's toes by condemning real estate that maybe is in an estate or owned by someone that doesn't live locally.
Right.
And we condemn it, but there's a process you go through for all that.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
Very good. Thank you.
And we're lucky to have Bob because he's
Oh,
on
yeah.
it. He
Oh,
knows
yeah.
that
He's-
process.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lori. Okay, Ed is ill today, so I don't think he's going to have any kind of report. Marcia?
I have nothing today, thank you.
Rhonda?
Yes, I have one thing to bring before you today. Earlier this year, we compiled a website committee, and we determined that we needed to update our website and bring some added things to it. I have a quote from eGov Core Technologies to update the website. The cost is $12,350. It will add ADA accessibility. We've added a translation option, and it'll have a smart search where you will be able to see and find things more quickly on the website.
You're familiar with that? Getting that done?
Yeah, no, that's something, I mean, there's how everybody finds information anymore is online versus in a phone book or even coming in. So I think having a good up-to-date presence on our website is crucial. So I'd make a motion to approve the agreement to update the website as well as the ongoing fee. So,
Second.
All right, thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Yeah, we just put about half that on ours, and it's just way smaller.
Right.
So, yeah. Any department heads that are here today? Have anything? Anybody else have anything to come before the commissioners? Okay, if not, we'll plan on being back here on Tuesday, September 12th.
September 12th.
Yeah, it's crazy.
what was this? What were we supposed to do?
I was trying to come up for the presentation. Can't do that. Thank you so much.
Trying to learn the system. What, if I get ahead of the ballgame, what is the best way for you guys to sign?
You get them to Marcia, she'll bring it.
Of your report.
Okay, that, yeah, that,
I guess you know.
thank you. Mr. Groninger? Groninger, yes?
I'm Matt Bannon. I didn't want to get up here and blast everybody. I sent an email out about the new ordinance over to Justin. He didn't want to answer. Brad answered and said that he was on vacation. The attorney did not answer. You know, what I'm seeing across this county, my first experience was unprofessional. Right? Nobody's willing to have a discussion. Nobody's willing to talk about it. Nobody's willing to sit down. You know, what has been done over there is a clear First and Fourth Amendment violation.